Presentation. 4 poisonous propensities that can make individuals lose regard for you. These aren't simply innocuous characteristics, they're ways of behaving that can genuinely subvert your standing. What's more, harm your connections. You may be thinking, come on, everybody has awful propensities, and you're correct, yet the propensities we're talking about today are especially destructive on the grounds that they strike at the center of how we connect with others. They can turn a promising companionship or proficient relationship sound in no time to give this subject an individual touch. I will share my very own portion. Encounters, trust me, I've made a lot of botches en route, and I've learned a great deal from them. These accounts are a little crude and legitimate, yet I honestly think that sharing them will assist us with all developing. By perceiving and defeating these propensities, we can begin carrying on with a day-to-day existence brimming with pride and regard. We'll draw on the lessons of emotionlessness and old reasoning that offers ageless guidance for living a temperate and satisfying life. Emotionlessness is about more than just persevering through difficulties with a firm upper lip. It's tied in with developing internal harmony, a brightness and strength. So get a cup of espresso, pause for a moment, and we should make a plunge. Prepared, we should get into it. Propensity number 1. Meddling. We should become truly about meddling. Propensity 1. Meddling. It's one of those propensities that nearly everybody enjoys, except nobody needs to confess to. I used to be a tremendous tattle, and it took a ton of excruciating examples to acknowledge exactly the way that harming it was. The point at which I was in school, meddling was essentially a game my companions and I would sit around for quite a long time, taking apart every single detail of others' lives right away. It felt innocuous, even fun. It made us feel associated, like we were in on some select mystery. However, truly, meddling is a harmful propensity that can obliterate trust and regard. Here's a story I'm not pleased with. There was this young lady in our gathering. We should call her Emily. She was a bit different, eccentric, contemplative, didn't continuously fit in. One day I figured out she had eyes for a we should person, say, way over her head. As opposed to keeping that data to myself, I shared it with my companions, wheelie about it, and the story spread like quickly. It wasn't some time before Emily figured out what we'd been saying, the expression all over, when she understood that her own sentiments had turned into a joke. Was tragic. She quit coming around, and ultimately she left the gathering totally. At the time I forgotten about it, yet where it counts I knew I'd crossed a line. The Stoics, like epic Titus, help us to zero in all alone character and not interfere in the issues of others. When you tattle, you're not just fooling around, yet in addition harming the well of trust. Save quietness generally and talk just when you must, and afterward momentarily. Epicus. Meddling disintegrates trust. When you participate in tattle, individuals begin to ponder what you say regarding them behind their backs. It establishes a climate of doubt and treachery. I realized this the way when my own words caught up with me. Another occurrence occurred at my most memorable work. I had a colleague, we should call him John, who was inconceivably persistent, yet somewhat of an introvert. On one occasion, I figured out through the grape plant that John had a really troublesome medical problem, as opposed to regarding his security. I told a couple of partners, thinking it would make for an intriguing discussion. John found out. Obviously he stood up to me, not irately, yet with a look of profound hurt and dissatisfaction. He let me know that he entrusted me with that data, figuring I would be careful. From that day on, our functioning relationship was never a similar. I had lost his regard, what's more, trust, and it was completely my shortcoming. This experience showed me a basic illustration. Regard others' security. Everybody has their fights and weaknesses. By turning somebody's individual life into grub. 4. Propensity 2. Being problematic. discussion you not just lack of regard them, yet additionally uncover a genuinely honest absence in yourself. The Stoics had confidence in elevating and helpful discussions rather than meddling spotlight on certain discourse that develops individuals rather than destroying them. Recollect whether somebody will blather to you, they're similarly prone to blabber about you. Propensity number to being inconsistent. We should discuss being inconsistent. This one strikes a chord for a ton of individuals, and a propensity cons genuinely disintegrate. Regard and wavering quality is fundamental to any relationship, whether individual or expert. On the off chance that individuals can't depend on you, they'll rapidly lose regard for you. I have an individual anecdote about this. In my mid-20s, I was referred to among my companions as the flaky one. I would make arrangements and after would drop last minute or simply not appear at all. I thought it was no biggie, life is occupied, right? Yet one episode truly opened my eyes. A dear companion of mine, Sarah, was setting up a birthday celebration. She had gone hard and fast, anticipating weeks, sorting out everything about, guaranteed I'd be there. However, upon the arrival of the party, I got up to speed in something different and chose not to go. I didn't try to tell her until hours after the occasion had begun. At the point when I at last called her, I could hear the failure in her voice. She didn't say a lot, yet I realized I'd let her down. Our kinship was never entirely the same after that. She quit welcoming me to things and we floated separated. Being questionable lets individuals know that your statement amounts to nothing in the event that you say you'll do something. Do it in the event that you vow to be someplace. Be there. It's tied in with appearing that regard others' time and exertion. Another model is from my proficient life. Right off the bat in my profession, I had a propensity for overcommitting and under-conveying. I'd consented to take on tasks and afterward miss cut-off times frequently without advance notice. I thought my appeal and reasons would streamline things, yet my supervisor wasn't entertained. During an exhibition survey, she spread it out gruffly. Your work is great when you do it, yet your absence of reliable capacity is an issue. Individuals don't know whether they can depend on you. It was a cruel reminder. Dependability isn't simply about making a mockery of, it's about consistency. Also, uprightness. When you focus on something, you're putting your standing on the line each time you turn up missing. You work on the trust others have in you. So how would we fix this? Initially be legit with yourself about what you can also can't do. Don't overcommit. On the off chance that you make a commitment, keep it. Convey proactively. On the off chance that something comes up and you can't finish, show that you esteem others' experience as much as your own. By being dependable, you acquire the regard and trust of everyone around you. It's a straightforward yet strong approach to reinforce your connections and fabricate propensity. 3. Intruding on others. A strong standing propensity. Number 3. Hindering others. This one is dubious on the grounds that such countless individuals do it without even acknowledging it. However, how about we be genuine? Continually intruding on others is a tremendous indication of discourtesy. It expresses out loud, whatever I have to say is a higher priority than what you're saying. It's a propensity that not just disappoints individuals, yet in addition makes them feel underestimated and unheard. I used to be an ongoing interrupter. I thought it showed energy and knowledge. However, in reality it extended an absence of regard and pence. Here is an individual story that drove this point home for me. In one of my initial occupations, I was essential for a group that had week-by-week meetings to generate new ideas. I was anxious to dazzle, so I'd continually bounce in with my thoughts, frequently cutting individuals off mid-sentence. I assumed I was being proactive. However, my associates saw it diversely. One day during a especially extreme gathering, my supervisor halted the conversation and tended to me. Me straightforwardly, you want to let individuals finish their contemplations, she said gruffly. You're not listening, you're simply pausing for your chance to speak. I was humiliated. Yet, it didn't end there after the meeting. A partner pulled me to the side and so do you even acknowledge how contemptuous you run over it resembles? You think your thoughts are the ones in particular that matter. That hit me hard. I didn't see myself as pretentious, yet obviously that is the means by which I was seen. Interfering with others is more than simply impolite. It shows an absence of restraint and regard. The Stoics esteem tuning in and understanding over talking. Seneca encourages us to show restraint. What's more, obliging in our discussions. I recall another occurrence distinctively. I was out with companions at a bar, and one companion was sharing a profoundly private anecdote about his battles with tension. Part of the way through, I bounced in with my own experience, figuring it would help him feel perceived. Rather, he took a gander at me and said, "Can I finish?" The temperament moved in a split second. What I believed was sympathy seemed to be seizing his second. That evening I acknowledged something significant. Listening is something other than hearing words. It's about being available and permitting others to communicate their thoughts completely. By Barry intruding on, I was sabotaging that process, making it about me as opposed to them. To get out from under this propensity, practice dynamic listening when somebody is talking. Truly listen, don't simply hang tight for your go to talk. Give them the space to offer their viewpoints totally. Previously you answer. It's a straightforward, however strong method for extending admiration and fabricate more grounded associations. Hindered signals that you think your words are more significant than theirs. It's about esteeming others' commitments and encouraging a climate of common regard whenever you're in a propensity for griping discussion. Challenge yourself to really listen. You may be astounded at how substantially more you advance and the amount more regard you acquire. Propensity number 4. Griping. Whining is a propensity that is irritating as well as profoundly destructive. It's one thing to vent every so often, yet consistent whining can transform you into a negative power that individuals need to keep away from. This propensity can channel your energy and the energy of everyone around you, prompting lost regard. What's more, harmed connections. I used to be an ongoing grumbler. I thought it was an approach to bond with individuals, to settle on something worth agreeing on over shared complaints, yet it didn't take long for me to acknowledge how damaging this propensity was. Allowed me to share an individual story. A couple of years prior, I worked at a particular employment